All right, Steeler fans, time for the mailbag segment. I thank everyone that contributed because I got to be honest, on Monday night games, so Tuesday morning is when I normally put out the tweet. I'm trying to get the victory giveaway tweet out. I'm trying to get the tweet that puts all our links out there for the Steel Curtain Network for all our podcasts. I'm trying to get my links out there for the Let's Ride podcast, my golf podcast, all this stuff that I do. I'm trying to get it done. And I totally remembered I'm walking my dogs at 12 at noon. And I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to put out the mailbag tweet. I did. Y'all still responded. Thank you all. In case you want to know how to get your question answered, all you have to do is find me on social media on Twitter at jhartman, HARTMAN_PIT. Every Tuesday. In this case, it was noon. Normally, it's much earlier. I put out the tweet saying, all right, fire away with questions. You respond. I answer the question. So here we go. Jeff Coons, he said, greetings from Not Mad Canada. As we move into the bye week and into the lab to continue to assess the division of labor, what is one position group to celebrate at this point of the season? One position group that continues to need attention before the trade deadline. Okay, so the position group that to celebrate at this point of the season, there's a lot. There's a lot. I want to say the special teams unit in whole in its entirety, and I know Jeff is a big punting fan, so he's a big guy, a big special teams guy. But if I were to say a specific position group to celebrate, I have to think that right now the Steelers have the best quarterback situation in the NFL. I think that's something to celebrate. You may have wanted the Steelers to stick with Justin Fields, and that's okay. But you can't say that you're unhappy with what Russell Wilson has done. And so now you're looking at it and saying, well, shoot, Russell Wilson's playing great. Justin Fields wasn't playing horrible. He got him to 4-2. Was he playing as well as Russ? No, that's obvious. But at the same time, I think that's something to celebrate. That if something happens to Russell Wilson, you have to go to Justin Fields. He can still win you football games. So I think that's something to celebrate. As something that needs attention, everyone's going to say wide receiver. If I was going to go in a different direction, though, if I was going to try and say, okay, where's another position that they might address at the trade deadline? I'd probably think along the offensive line. Probably not. It could be guard, could be tackle. It depends on how they view Broderick Jones, and Dylan Cook as a backup or someone that needs to come in and play. That's just where I'm going to go with that second part. Let's go to Believers, the Ride or Die Crew poll of the week. With the change in quarterback play and the offense looking entirely different from what we have seen or used to seeing, what are your thoughts on needing another top wide receiver? The options were need another one desperately, help couldn't hurt, and then we're good. I chose help couldn't hurt because I think if they go out and sign a player, I threw out the name Adam Thielen there earlier in the week, or it might have been last week. Okay, again, it's not going to hurt the team. It's not going to cost them a lot either. But still, that's a player. It's a guy. Now, I don't think they're going to trade for a Cooper Kupp. Obviously, Devontae Adams didn't work out and all the others, but I think help couldn't hurt. All right, let's go to Todd Hall. Jeff, how many more wins do you think we need to make the playoffs? I think at least 4 more for the rest of the season. Will 10-7 get us there? This is a difficult question. I think 11 wins guarantees you a spot, but I think 10 wins, you're on that bubble. You're on that bubble. If you can go 11-6, I think you're guaranteed at least a wild card. You go 10-7 and you're going to need some help. You're going to have to look at the tie-breaking situations. But then again, I could be way off. The AFC could not be nearly as competitive as we thought, but I think it will be. I think teams will tighten up. These races will tighten up. We'll see. So I would say that 11 guarantees you a spot. 10, you might need some help. So let's get 11. All right, Thomas asks, why were there so many holes in the defense last night? I know we play the bend, don't break defense, but it seemed like every throw was completed. Every one run was for at least 5 yards, not hating the win, but hating the inconsistency. I think the Steelers defensively had a bad plan for this game. I think they had a bad plan. I think Brian Daboll, Mike Tomlin says this stuff and it pisses a lot of people off, but he's right. Sometimes you have to give credit to the other team. Sometimes the other team who has professionals, who have coaches that are paid to do a job, sometimes they outsmart the plan that you have in place. Thankfully, the Steelers defense did stand up tall in the third quarter, and the Steelers offense was able to continue to shine. I saw a crazy statistic that this year, I think the Steelers have not given up a point in the third quarter. I think they're outscoring opponents like 51 or 53-0 in the third quarter. It's just insane, just crazy. There are some issues. I'm not about to jump down that road and think that it's going to be an ongoing issue because it hasn't been this year. It has not been an issue this year. And they only gave up 18 points. All right, let's go to Doc M. What areas do the Steelers need to work on during the bye week? During the bye week, I think that not just getting healthy, I think they really need to shore up the run defense. Figure that out. Get the run fits going. Make sure that everyone's on the same page. Also, secondary communication. You saw this a lot against the Giants, and you hadn't seen it a lot prior, was people like Joey Porter Jr. like throwing his hands up in frustration because they're running zone and maybe someone's not in their zone or where they're supposed to be. Patrick Queen was doing the same thing. Those are still those mental errors that do take place that need to be fixed. Let's go to Stephen Morey. All the talk about getting another wide receiver. I think Omar Khan hasn't gotten a deal within the team's threshold of picks a player that makes any business sense. Why are fans trashing Khan? I think fans are just wanting to see a move made. You know, they've had so much pride in Omar Khan. They've been so proud to post the memes of Omar and here comes Omar when they fleeced the Bears multiple times and when they seem to win on all these trades. And you're thinking, okay, he's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. And he hasn't done it yet. And there might be a reason why he hasn't done it yet, but this fans just want the result. That's why they're hating on him. But he might turn out to be a genius as is. And if he slow plays it enough and they don't make a move, but the Steelers wide receivers go out and make plays, who am I to bemoan that? All right, Afton Ford said, have you heard anything from a credible source about what's happening with Broderick Jones? He seems like a different player than he was last year. I have not. I did hear on the Here We Go Steelers show with Coach KT Smith and Brian Davis. This was on yesterday. You can still check it out. It's on our audio-only feed. Kevin Smith, he's even befuddled by it. He even says, I don't know what's going on. He saw him in training camp. He said he looked good. He looked better. He said maybe he's out of shape. He doesn't know. It's a problem. We'll put it that way. Broderick Jones is a concern, as it should be. Let's go to Timothy Laurelin. I don't know if I said that right. We'll just call you Timothy. He said, if Russ keeps playing well, will they sign both quarterbacks and have Fields learn from Russ? It seems that both work well with each other, and Fields needs mentorship for the passing game. It seems like this would be great. Do you think this would happen? I don't think if it was an option, I'm sure the Steelers would love to do it, but at the same time, could it happen? That's going to cost money. Now, these guys are not going to be cheap for 2 years in a row. I don't think that's likely to happen. I think that Justin Fields, let's say he's the odd man out at season's end and the Steelers want to keep Russell Wilson. I don't think he wants to be a backup. He's in the prime of his career, and I don't blame him. But I also don't want to go down that rabbit hole just yet. Let's go to Tendercat. He asked a couple questions. He said, do you think Broderick would be much better if he was at left tackle? I want him to work out just as much as the next guy, but it's been ugly at right tackle. I don't know. We have seen Broderick Jones play left tackle for one game last year against the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't do bad, but at the same time, he hasn't practiced there, didn't play there much in the preseason. I mean, he played some, but not enough that we can really get a true gauge on if he'd be better. I don't know. I have no idea if he would be better there or not. It's just crazy. Next from Tendercat, is it just me, Jeff, or does Pickens always have a hard time keeping 2 feet in bounds? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that he does. I mean, there was one play that obviously the touchdown that gets wiped off. He might have thought that 1 foot twice equates to a touchdown. I don't know. And honestly, I didn't know that rule either. Sometimes there's things that happen that you're just like, man, I didn't know that was even a possibility. So the thing that gets me with the 2 feet is that if someone's elbow lands or knee hits the ground, that counts as 2 feet. Anyways, I'm not getting down there. Not talking about that just yet. All right. Heath Davis has several questions. He said, El Jefe, hope I'm not too late. First question, what type of gum does Danny Smith chew? Is it true it's in his contract they give each time a big play happens or special teams, he gets a new pack? I'm pretty sure I heard that it is the old school double bubble. The individually wrapped double bubble, red, white, and blue, the pink gum. It stays fresh in your mouth for, I don't know, approximately 15 seconds. And he probably is just continually changing that out. That's what I think. I don't know that for a fact, though. Let's go to the next question. For the first time since 2017, I have actual hope. Do you think we can make a run? This offense has given me hope as well. And it comes down to, is the defense going to be able to hold up against some of these high-powered offenses they're going to face? You know, you think about the run defense against a team like Baltimore, runs the ball so well. Think about the pass defense against Joe Burrow and having to go against T. Higgins if he's healthy and Jamar Chase. You talk about, even a Jameis Winston-led Cleveland Browns offense, which I think is better than Deshaun Watson. That makes those games more difficult, in my opinion. But I do have hope. I think they can make a run. Last one from Heath Davis. Final question. With all the crazy speculation about trades, what is a position that would surprise you if they traded for, but you think could make sense? I think a tackle. If they want to get a tackle, that would make sense for me, because they might say Broderick Jones, look, man, it's not cutting it. Like, it's not good enough. And people might say they would never do that. Well, no one thought they would ever bench Justin Fields after a 4-2 start to the season either. And yet it worked out. And so if Mike Tomlin wants to show off the cojones again, maybe he does something like that. That's where I'll go. All right, let's go to Hercules. He said, are any of the wide receivers we have capable of being a wide receiver too? Just curious on your thoughts on it, if they are, and if we do not pursue or get another wide receiver to complement George Pickens. Here is what you're starting to see. With Russell Wilson at quarterback, teams are not able to stack the box. So the Steelers are running the ball a million times better. On top of that, Russell Wilson has proven he is willing to spread the ball around. If the safety is shading George Pickens' way, he has shown that he can complete passes. Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin III is the player that I think can benefit the most from Russell Wilson being a quarterback, because he is the one that can win those one-on-one matchups if he gets them. If they're smart, they're going to utilize these guys. And this, again, could they be a wide receiver too? In this system, they could. That doesn't mean it couldn't be better, but they could. I think there's hope there. Let's go to J.C. Kaufman. He said, is this new and improved Naji Harris for real, or is it a contract year performance before we go back to the old Naj? Also, traveling to Japan this weekend, and will be wearing my Steelers gear to see if anyone there is a fan. That's awesome. Enjoy the trip. I hope you timed that well. If you timed that with the bye week, that's legit. That's legit ride or die crew, diehard Steeler fan stuff right there. I think this is Naji Harris and what you're getting to see from him when the defense, like I just mentioned, can't load the box. You can't load the box. And even when Justin Fields was in, they were loading the box to try and stop him running as well. The problem was that he wasn't consistently beating them through the air. Russell Wilson is showing that. So what do they have to do? They got to back off. They got to give some respect. And now all of a sudden, they're having manageable block errors versus defenders in the box. I saw a really good clip. I can't remember who it was on Twitter, and they talked about how Russell Wilson is also helping in this. And the play was, I think it was a big pass play. I think it was a touchdown pass actually to Calvin Austin III. And Russell Wilson is standing there in the shotgun, and he sees all of a sudden we don't have good numbers. They are going to be sending more than we can block. So Pat Freiermuth is actually flexed out wide, and he motions him in, and he becomes an inline blocker. Now, all of a sudden, the Steelers have the advantage. They have enough players to block what the Giants want to do if they send everyone. The Steelers pick it up. Jaylen Warren picks up his man. Pat Freiermuth helps, and he delivers a clean pass. If that doesn't happen, that play doesn't happen. So some of that does matter as well. Let's go to Brian Haynes. He said, Jeff, we sit here atop the AFC North and looking down at the peasants below. I notice that we're in a great spot. Do you think 5 wins keeps us in the lead, or do you think we need 6+? Again, I think you're going to need 11 or more to win the division. The Baltimore Ravens are not going away, people. If you think they're going away, you have not been watching the same team that I have. All right, let's go to Deontay Johnson. This is the Brian Haynes asked. Deontay Johnson just signed with the Ravens. On a scale from 1 to 10, how worried are you about the move? Personally, I'm worried but not terrified because he's a threat but not a huge one. I'd say that if I'm concerned, 10 being I'm so scared, I'm fearful that when the Steelers play the Ravens, and 1 being this doesn't even move the needle, I'm probably about a 6. Probably about a 6. Deontay Johnson's good at separation. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is that rhythmic type passer that really works well with Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's best years are with Ben Roethlisberger. I'm going to plant my foot. I'm going to deliver the pass. So I would say a 6. It doesn't really do much for me, I'll be honest. Let's go to Matthias. With the Ravens trading for Deontay Johnson, is it time for Pittsburgh to make a move for a wide receiver? I don't think that there's any need for a knee-jerk reaction here. I really don't. So the Ravens trade for Deontay Johnson, good for them. Now they've got a plethora of wide receivers, none of which seem to really move the needle. Zay Flowers, I'm trying to think. They have Nelson Aguilar over there, a couple other guys. It's I don't know. It's a mess. I don't care about the Ravens that much. All right, JC, Jeff, are you not entertained? How exciting. From the iconic Watt strip sack at a key moment in the game to the confidence Russ instills in this offense. It's really hard to be cautiously optimistic, and we should all be gushing and enjoying the season. I'm not disagreeing, man. I'm loving 6-2. Absolutely loving it. It's fantastic. This is fun. This is fun. If you're miserable right now, then don't follow the team and don't watch football because this team is good. They're a good football team. William Harper said, Jeff, reading through the mailbag, and I use a Wayne's World gift. If you've noticed anything about my mailbag tweets, if the Steelers are winning, I stick with the same movie. So it's Wayne's World for a 3-game winning streak. We're going to stick with Wayne's World until they lose. And it's the scene where Wayne is reading the contract. He goes, I like what you've done here. All right. So Big Papa said, why Jerry Cherry? While this win wasn't as relaxing as I thought it would be, I am glad we don't have to rely so heavily on our defense anymore. Couldn't be more happy with 6-2. So Big Papa Jerry Cherry, I don't know what you mean by that, but I want to give a big shout out to the Jerry Cherry Band. That's the guys. It's the name of the artist that the music you hear at the beginning, the midpoint, at the end of the show for Let's Ride. That is the Jerry Cherry Band. You can check him out on YouTube. He does guitar tutorials, really great stuff. You can also check him out on Spotify. You can hear that song. You can hear the Let's Ride song. So if you ever want to check it out, people have asked, like, who is that music that you have playing at the beginning of your show? That is the Jerry Cherry Band. All right, let's finish this up with some humor like we always do. Steeler Fan 69. Here we go. How is my wallet like an onion? Every time I open it, I cry. I get what that feels like. Next, I just found out that you don't need training to be a garbage man. You just pick it up as you go along. And then he said, my wife blocked me on Facebook because I post too many bird puns. Well, Toucan play at that game. Get it? Toucan play at that game. Very well done, as always. In the Ride or Die crew, you never disappoint. Even when I mess up and get the tweet out late, y'all never disappoint. Thank you all very much. I do ask that everyone give SteelCurtainNetwork.com a shot. It's SteelCurtainNetwork.com. You'll get a lot of writing from me. You'll get writing from Dave Schofield, a lot of others that contribute on the audio side. Also write. Kevin Smith is a writer for us. Go check out SteelCurtainNetwork.com today and every day to make sure you get all the latest Steelers news right there. But in the meantime, that does it for me. Make sure you check out the Steel City Insider today at 11 o'clock. Jim Wexel and Jeremy Ritz have a special guest. I will see you all on Friday. Enjoy this week off. In the meantime, you know, we finished out. Be safe, be kind, and God bless. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Friday. Go Steelers.